Good morning and welcome. And first of all, wishing you a very happy and pleasant new year and wishing you the very best what life has to offer for you and for your loved ones and friends and what are the dreams you have planted. Wish you the very best for your future and more importantly, stay healthy, look for wealth and find opportunity to increase your wealth, and that means that you need to start finding a ways that provide a value to the people around you, solving their problems, so on and so forth. So first of all, thank you very much for tuning in today, and then so once again wishing you a very best year ahead. And while thinking about that, wish is great thing and hope is fantastic thing to keep our spirit and keep our hopes alive. But at the same time, it's always good to sit back and reflect and how far we reached from last year. Same from starting from the 1st of January 2023. As we speak, we're already heading into the 2024. It's already started. During this period, how much have you observed in your life? How much have you learned? What are the lessons you picked up? What are the things that you don't want to do it as an experience which taught you? What are the things that you really wanted to focus? So it's always good to reflect. This is the time of the year, instead of making the resolutions, time of the year is for you to evaluate. I believe you already did so. Evaluate how far you reached from where you started, just rewinding back in 365 days back. Now, you can look at a couple of things in your area of improvement, like we discussed in the last year video. I always say that always have a plan. If you don't have a plan, if you fail to plan, you are going to end up nowhere. So you got to have a plan. You need to have a vision. You need to know where you're heading to, and you need to know how far reached, how far did you reach from last year to this year. Did you make even one step further? That's a good sign. Even if you made a one step further in any area you wanted to go, probably next year you will multiply and then followed by taking the right steps in the right direction, which is very important. So you need to sit back and analyze what lessons have you learned, and if you already progressed further, what are the great things you already did? What are the actions did you take for you to uh, you moved ahead in that direction, and those are the things you need to be doing it more of it, so that moving further in the right track and right direction, which is good. I always look at it in 2 3 areas, which is, of course, one is definitely personal, and second important is your professional life, and the third important is the most critical amongst all is that finances. And how are you developing in those areas? How are you evaluating in those areas? It's something that you really need to look into it. In all these three areas, was there any improvement, or you need to see ways to improve on those areas, because uh, no one is going to come on your aid unless until you take your own calls. So if you're already doing great, well and good, congratulations to you, but then keep doing your best in order for you to continue to move ahead in the right direction. Evaluate those three areas of your life: personal, professional, and finances. See what are your goals, where do you stand, what are the steps do you need to take in order to achieve that. Always, when you have a target, you always work backwards, so that necessary steps you need to take in order to achieve those goals. And if you have no objective right in front of you, you're going to drift around aimlessly, and sooner or later you're going to realize, perhaps after losing a couple of years more, then probably the time is too late, because we have enough time for all of us, and we need to make best use of it. In regards to the finances, I always wanted to say something. So we always connect our gay finances or finances to work for someone else to decide, which is the wrong way of handling your money. You have to have, like, you need to get a grasp of finances as if you're breathing it with it. It's as important as it is. If you're not the prime breadwinner, or if you're not the one who's a decision maker, you probably your someone else in your family is doing that, and I'm sure they probably will have tremendous pressure, considering what we have inflation, what are the income is coming in, or what are the debts people are going through, so on and so forth. So it's very important for you to get understanding the basics of your finances. A lot of businesses, a lot of organizations, a lot of countries, a lot of households fail because of one of the reasons. I'm not saying all of them, but one of the main reasons could be the finances, how they handle them. Understanding this basic principles works everywhere. Know what you have, keep your desires low, and work towards building your wealth by investing, not by saving. Savings are good as a good step, but you need to invest in a ways that for you to make that returns. Let's say a quick example of, let's say you can calculate in a simple way what are the money you're making as of now. Let's say for 30 days you divide it by, for the amount what you make, the number of hours. So you derive to a point number of hours you work for the amount of money you make. So you know what's your value or how much time you spend per an hour in order to make that money. And before you make any other purchases, calculate in their terms. Let's say you're going to buy a house. Let's say you're going to buy a car. Let's say you're going to buy gadgets or any expensive gadgets which is coming to your addition. Always question yourself. The item's worth divided by the number of hours you had to work in order to achieve that item. Let's say some of them are most important, I'm not denying the fact, but things which is bringing you the debt, not having peace of mind, you really need to evaluate, is it worth, are you having the freedom? Because let's say you're making $10 an hour and you are buying something for $1,000, and calculate how many hours you have to spend to work or spend the time in order for you to have the purchase. Is it worth given your time? Something that you should always ask before going to any big purchases. How much time is it costing you at this point of time? And then if you're still convinced, well, one, even if you have a cash to pay and think that this number of hours is what you put in order to get there, or if you are checking a credit, also think that these are the additional number of hours you need to put in order to have that purchase. So if you do a calculated analysis and say, question every purchase, and I'm sure you will be in a right direction. And having that analysis, and then you still want to go ahead, and I'm sure that is most important for you and for your family members, which is okay to get, but then at least you are knowing that how much additional time you need to borrow from the future. So that's one way to analyze. And second important thing, always, like previously I had mentioned, always keep your desires below what you make, so you can always stay rich. Rich in terms of mind, peace of mind. So that is something that you need to always try to achieve. A couple of days back I was reading a wonderful book which says that make sure that every dollar or every rupee you have works for you. Great analysis what was given by Warren Buffett, that when you work hard for someone, you have to pay 30% income tax across any places you can look at it when you cross a certain threshold. But when money works for you, you pay a capital gain taxes. So understand, when you work for money, you pay 30%. When money works for you, you only pay 10%. Isn't that a wonderful way to look at it and see how much money are you investing? How much money as a soldier is working for you? Something you need to ask. Thanks for watching. I hope that helps, and I wish you the best in this year.